Sprinter vans are awesome. They're totally awesome. In the 90s, I was a whitewater river guide up in Washington State, and we windsurfed. So I'd guide all morning, we windsurf in the afternoon. There's a culture of professionals, like entrepreneurs and people who'd come to the Gorge, Oregon to windsurf all summer long, and they live in their vehicles and chase the wind. They'd go to Mexico in the wintertime. Wherever the wind was, they'd move around. And we had vehicles, man. We had the Econoline Ford van was the van to have. There was RVs. People were customizing these things. And there was never a sweet spot. It was like the vehicle was big and luxurious, but got terrible mileage. You couldn't go anywhere. Or it was really small and cramped, and you're trying to fit all your windsurfing gear on top somehow, and these contraptions and really creative layouts. It was a fun time of like converting vehicles and all this. When the Mercedes Sprinter came out, I don't know what year it came out. When I first saw one, it was just like, oh dear God, they nailed it. It was the ultimate vehicle to have. I've always wanted a diesel. When you get into a vehicle and you start loading it up, like a van, like a camper van, like a VW or a Chevy van, and you start putting stuff in it, you quickly realize how worthless a gas engine is. Like, I don't understand why any RV in the market today is even gas. It's only gas because people don't drive them anywhere. They drive them 4 times a year and it doesn't matter. The gas bill is $500 for their family vacation. It's an RV. But if you want a vehicle that you truly travel in, that you're truly, a traveler or a paraglider or a surfer, and you're like in it to win it for the efficiency, diesel is just a no-brainer. And obviously, the initial cost is the downside. But when these Sprinter vans came out, absolutely blew my mind. I instantly wanted one. The German engineering is phenomenal. They've nailed it. They've nailed the relationship between a vehicle that is as big as you want it to be and as efficient as you want it to be. Like, you wouldn't really want it to be any bigger. And it drives and handles like that Mercedes feel. My Sprinter has that feeling. It doesn't drive like an Audi, but it just, you know what I'm saying? It has that sense of quality. Like, this is a piece of machinery. This is not a Honda. It's a really quality made. Guys, if you've driven other vehicles of this size, I used to drive commercial bus. I've driven RVs. I've driven all kinds of stuff. Even my Toyota truck or my 1971 Ford camper van, was just this kind of boaty thing where this thing is tight. It handles tight. It turns tight. It stops quick. It's really incredible. So the Sprinter in general is epic, and I don't know. I just want to say that this thing is. I love it. It's amazing, and it's. I was planning on keeping this vehicle forever. I don't know, 10 years, and really just continuing to invest into it and pour money into it and keep it. And this winter, a few things happened in my life, and I just suddenly am going to sell it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to sell my van for the money. Number one, and number two, I realized this year that standing up in it. I can't stand up straight. I'm 6'3", and I'm crunched over a little bit, just a little bit. And that's kind of, people warned me about that, but I didn't care. And it's kind of a deal breaker. I'm realizing that I can't really live in the van or travel in it long term the way I designed it to, with that kind of crouched posture. It really won't work for me. So that was a big one where it all kind of came together. I'm like, all right, I need the money. It's time to sell. I can't stand up in it. And I'm going to get some things under my feet the next year or two. And maybe in 2 years, if I can save up and buy a newer one. I know the newer ones have the super high tops. Awesome. I love this van. I've poured my heart into it. I've given it everything, the best that I could give all along the way. So whenever there's an opportunity to change fluid or do something that was like future thinking, like, oh, that doesn't need to be done, let's do it anyways, because it would be good for it, because it'll add to its longevity, and now it's done. It's just that much newer. It's that much more taken care of. The transmission fluid, it's all been changed. The power steering fluid, you don't need to do that. I just changed it. A guy was in there, he's like, hey, you want to freshen this up? And I was like, yeah, why not? And all the radiator fluids, all the fluids have been changed and flushed, just really taking care of it. And any opportunity, there's when they took apart the intake manifold, there was like, oh, what else can we do in here while we're in here? It's like, yeah, replace all the hoses, replace all the wear items or rubber that might wear out. Go ahead and just replace them. And so anyways, along the way that's kind of been my process and my thinking of I'm going to have this thing for 10 years. So it is in a lot of the common problems that this year van can have been fixed in the past, I don't know, 6 to 12 months or less. So a lot of that stuff's new and ready to go. What else? I think, you hear it a lot, like these vans will go 1,000,000 miles. If you take care of them, you change the fluids and filters, they can go 1,000,000 miles. So 190,000 miles is really just broken in for these motors. I've seen a lot of, it's rare to find a van of this year with that miles, which is why I bought this particular van. And a lot of people want the older version because you can drive it to Mexico or down to Central America if that's something you might do. The newer vans, you can't. There's something with the fuel. I don't know what it is, but the Blue Tech and the new stuff and the fuel in Mexico doesn't work with the Blue Tech. So these older ones are really sought after. And I've had a lot of like old time mechanics look at it and go, oh, that's the 5-cylinder inline Mercedes diesel. And you're like, yeah. And like, is that good? And they're like, that's a great motor. And I don't know. I just hear that a lot. I just get that a lot. Oh, that's a great motor. That's a great motor. You just kind of get that sort of like affirmation of like, this thing is sick. One of the biggest surprises was just the continued amount of time and I don't know, kind of going, it just, what it took to convert this thing was way more than I had expected. And I actually had a business coach at the time and I was like, man, should I spend time on this? It's just consuming my energy and instead of working on my business, I was working on the van and my money and resources and focus and thought and time and energy. It just kind of went into the van. And I literally was with my coach. I was like, should I pursue this project or not? It's a big part of my life, like my creative energy and my momentum that I have to create is going into this van. It just felt kind of small, I'm just like, I've got bigger things to do in life that I really want to do. And it was fun. It was fun. She's like, just do it, get it done. And I'm like, I have a feeling it's never going to really be done. And that's kind of how it's been. But anyways, just endless trips to the hardware store, and ordering stuff online and trying to find the right stuff. It is just, I just want to say it's just way more than I expected. When I hear about people that have credit and, houses and property, they take out a second mortgage and they just spend $100,000 on a new van that's all done up. I envy them. I'm like, oh, now I know why it's $100,000 for these vans all done up, because that's how much effort and work and money it takes to convert one and to get it there. So honestly, I tell people like, hey, if you can afford to buy a newer one already all done for 60, 80, 90 grand, do it. Don't, go do your job, sell real estate, do whatever you do, make your money and make the payment. It's way easier. So anyways, that was just kind of a reality check for me. Now this van's not an $80,000 van.